Hi, I've had lots of people reach out and ask me about the National Association of Realtors settlement on Friday. So you've probably seen the headlines that say, it's an earthquake for real estate. 6% commission is dead. By the way, in my brokerage, there was never 6% commission. I think that's really too high, but that's another subject. Anyway, the headlines have been very inflammatory. So I thought, let me go ahead and just set the record straight so that you sort of know what's going on right now with this settlement. First of all, the settlement still has to be approved by the court. And secondly, if it is approved, the changes that they're recommending won't go into place until mid-July. So with that in mind, let me explain to you what the changes are. There's three things that will affect the way we do real estate. We'll notice a change. So the first thing is they're decoupling the way commission is paid. Traditionally, the listing side or the seller would pay both the listing agent commission and the buyer's agent commission. So that was kind of an assumption that was made. But what's going to happen going forward is buyers may be asked to pay their agent's commission. Sit with that for a minute. What do you think that's going to do to how much buyers are going to need to bring to the table to buy a house? Well, it doesn't mean that a buyer can't ask the seller to pay the commission for their agent. It just won't be as customary. Always been done in the past is it's listed in the MLS. It's called the cooperative broker arrangement. And it's when the listing agent meets with the seller, they come up with the commission, the compensation that we paid in total, and then they list in the back of the MLS what the seller is paying to the buyer's agent, what percentage. And that was called cooperative broker. So the second thing in this lawsuit is that cooperative broker amount will be taken out of the MLS. There will be no screen for that any longer, no place to fill that in. It's not to say that a seller is prohibited from paying the buyer's agent's commission. It's just not going to be a cooperative broker assumption. So number one, they're decoupling who's paying commissions. Number two, the cooperative broker figure percentage has to be taken out of the MLS. And then the third thing is, in order for you to work with the buyer, you have to sign a buyer-broker agreement prior to showing them any properties. So I have never used these in my brokerage because if someone says they'd like me to represent them, I just shake their hand and I look them in the eye and I believe them. But from now going forward, well, actually from July, if this gets approved, from July going forward, we will have to sign a buyer-broker agreement that says, number one, I am your representative as the buyer's agent. And number two, what you're going to be willing to pay me as commission. Yeah. So there's more language that will be in that form that will say if the seller's willing to pay it, the buyer's not going to pay it. The seller's money will cover whatever the buyer's agreed to. But if the seller says no, the buyer's going to have to pay it. And I think this is unfortunate because we're having a hard time finding properties that are affordable already. And suddenly, if we're asking the buyers to bring even more money to the table, I think this is difficult. So in my brokerage, we're going to be asking the sellers for concessions to pay that commission to the buyer's agent. But anyway, so those are the three main changes. There's some other things too, but those are the three biggies. I don't think it's going to rock the market because we still have a supply and demand issue here in California. But that should kind of update you on what's happening. Reach out if you have any other questions, but hopefully that explains it pretty well. Thanks.